right, we're back live. I tried announcing this one. Don't know if you guys are using it or not, but Instagram, the Instagram stories, and even Snapchat. I'm not real familiar with Snapchat yet, but we're on it, and I'm trying to actually use it a little bit more. So I didn't announce it on Facebook, but I announced it on our Snapchat thing and our Instagram story that we were going to go live at 5 o'clock tonight. So I'm going to see as people start to come on, but I'm going to flip this around. Dan Todd joined in. Hey, Dan. I know it's a little earlier than normal than I had been doing them in the past, but James is in, Dan's in, Jeff Trudell got in, Cam Cutters is in, so people will start coming on here, I think. I tried to announce it a little bit earlier using other platforms. I'm really actually kind of getting some value out of our Instagram. Not just, I like Instagram because I think it's different than Facebook, obviously, but I also like their stories, and I've actually, the ability to put stories up, and I've started doing that. This is Spry, that's Ellie. So as we get started here, it's pretty much a continuation of what we've been doing. Lots of Taylor says 2 days in a row. Yeah, I know it, Taylor. I'm because of some of the scheduling stuff and because of some of the other things I've struggled, but I'm back to it, and I have found out that I know for a fact that the more consistent I do them, the easier it is to do them. So Josh Virts joined in. Chris Hines is in. Hey, Josh, how are you? Sam Tripp, Todd, Zach Johnson, Jeff Bragg. So really glad you guys are back here. What I was saying about Instagram and Snapchat is I don't know if you're on them or not, but if you see, Jeff just said your Instagram post today with Moja was great. So one of the things that I've found is that they're really quick and easy. They're not real fancy by any means, and that's okay because I don't think we are either. But what I like about them is they're so quick. And so this morning on Instagram, I was able to do I actually did them on Snapchat, and I did like 3 videos of some of the dogs that I was doing some stuff with this morning. And I was able to save them. I was able to put them into the Instagram story. Those are I'm having a hard time managing all these different platforms, but I do think there's a lot of value in a few of the different ones for different reasons. I think Facebook has great value for us because it's a place for us to put a lot of content, and it's also a spot where we can get interaction with the lives like we're doing right now. So I do like that. That's something we're going to do more of. We're going to continue to get back on that train. It's the Instagram and the Snapchat that I kind of like because it's quick, it's fast. I can do little training things all throughout the day. And so if you're on those platforms, I recommend following us. I think it'd be called following us, but liking or following or whatever it is, so that they pop up so you can see them. Because you're getting, whoever's watching on Instagram or Snapchat, not so much, but I'm gonna start, I think, for a couple different reasons. But I think those are really nice places. The reason why I can't stand it, because we lose connection. So I'm actually where I should have good connection, so I apologize for that. Rhett joined in, James joined in, Aaron Garlock is in, Carol's in. Welcome back, you guys. So we are on 2 days in a row. Gonna do my best here. I was surprised that we lost you there with connection, but it looks like we're back now. Anyway, so to continue on with the live with Spry stuff, last night I thought was interesting because the topic that came up quite a bit that I wasn't planning on talking about at all was hold conditioning. I really think that it sounds like from emails and messages and especially last night even, there's a big issue with hold conditioning, and that's why I kind of titled it tonight, The Relevance of Hold Conditioning, because I just think it's super important, and I think that it's a part of all retriever training, not just shed dogs. I think you got to have it for all your dogs if you're going to do retrieving. And the reason I'm going to touch on it a little bit tonight is because a few things came up. I had one guy that made a comment to one of the questions. I think it was Josh had a question last night. There was a response, sounds like you need to force fetch. And I'm not saying that guy is, I'm not picking on the guy for answering that, because I think that's what a ton of people would say, force fetch. And what I'm gonna say is I don't like force fetch. I don't like anything about it. And because I'm not big on creating negatives and pain and pressure to a dog in order to do something that I think they naturally like to do. It's just not my philosophy. It goes against what I believe in. So, in how to get the most out of your dog. Now, I hold condition, and hold conditioning is so simple. As I say, right about now is when the phone gets thrown against the wall. So Spry has been hold conditioned. She's doing really well with it. I don't know if I'm going to say she's 100% done, but it's something that up until we slowed down with the live with Sprys, we were pretty heavy. I'm sorry, Jeff. I know the internet sucks here, or it's sucking tonight. So we'll try to work through this. If I get, normally we have pretty good reception here, but so I'm going to talk about hold, and I'm actually going to do some hold stuff with her tonight. Partially because I want to make sure I have 100% confidence in her delivery. I'm 99%. I want to be 100%. But the other reason is because I think we left off with live with Sprys in November, December-ish, and those we were like at the tail end of our hold conditioning. So I don't know that I would say we really finished it out. So I want to talk about that a little bit. But the other thing is the importance of hold conditioning. I talked about it a little bit last night. We got this is our new DVD. So this is replacing the old Shed DVD. We're going from a 48-minute Shed DVD that was partnered with Gundog, and I got to build the content for it, but it was also driven by their production and all that stuff. Wasn't quite exactly how I wanted to do it. I still think there's value in it, but we turned a 48-minute DVD into a 2 hour and 50. I think it's 2 hours and 57 minutes right now. Not finally completed. We also cut an hour out of hold conditioning, and I'm going to package it separate, and we're going to give it to you. So you're going to end up getting an extra hour's DVD that's dedicated exclusively to hold conditioning with the Shed DVD. Now, it's not available yet, so it's coming. I think we're in the final production of it, final revisions. It's getting dropped into the DVD format. I think it's probably out a few weeks yet. We are going to, and I don't know if, we went back and forth on this, talked with Steph, talked with Scott about it, didn't know if it made sense or not, but we are going to do a pre-order on it. So I think it's three weeks out probably before we have it to ship. We're going to do a pre-order, and the other thing we're going to do is we're going to give a pre-order, anyone who pre-orders, we're going to give you one of these. It's a dog bone collapsible bowl. So it's a travel bowl. I clip it to my training bag and I bring it with me everywhere I go in the field. Makes it really easy for watering. So this is it. Collapsible bowl, travels, clips onto your bag, training bag. So pre-order, anyone who pre-orders that, the DVD is going to get the bowl for free. So that will be coming. We don't even have it live on the website yet. So I wanted to put it out there. It's coming. Now, let's see. If you've got questions, fire away now. I'm going to start in on some of the hold conditioning talk with Spry, and I'm actually going to show some of it tonight. So I may end up actually going and grabbing some bumpers. I'll use this tonight. I'm going to be using one of the old white dummies. Shaldig asked when the pre-order start. I'm not sure, Shaldig. I'm guessing probably within a day. We'll have it on the website live. So I'll let you know as soon as it is. I'll probably make a post on it. Again, getting back to some of the other platforms like Instagram and Snapchat, and we have a Twitter account. I don't know how to use it, so it's linked basically to Facebook. But the Instagram and the Snapchat and Facebook here I'll announce it as soon as it's available. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to spin this back around, and I'm going to get fancy with you. I'm going to build. I don't have a tripod tonight, so we're going to make one. So what I want to do is I just want to show you some of the stuff. If you go back to our live with Sprys, which they're not even all up on our YouTube channel yet. There's a lot of them, but I think we're down. We stopped at 103. those are going to get loaded up. So we're up to like 116 or 117. My hope is, I think we're going to have those put onto YouTube. So a little tape on the back and we're good. We're going to have those on YouTube soon. They're not that old though, so you can scroll back and watch them on Facebook if you want. You can go back and find those a lot easier. But it's the hold conditioning is in those later ones. But we went from a table with a wooden dowel. We had lots of steps in between there. James Manjar is sending me emails. He's, I think, on day 47 today, I think it is. Thought it was really interesting. Thought it was really good self-awareness on his part. He said that he went to a field. He was going out to the field to transfer it to the field, and he thinks he went too fast, and he went from A to Z, is exactly what he said to me. And so he's backing up a little bit. So I said, perfect. You are recognizing and realizing when things don't go exactly the way we want. Maybe sometimes we're the reason. We took it too fast, too far. We take a step back, we fix it. So, but this is a process that started a long time ago. So there's 30 people. It's amazing that 30 number is how this thing really hovers around. But so a lot of you probably have seen a lot of the old ones. But if you are new to some of these, and I know some of you are new to them, you got to go back. You can't just drop yourself in at this point. But so one of the things that we did with her, hold. One of the things we did with her was once we put her on the ground, we had her just hold on the ground. And you'll notice her head position's pretty good. So this head position has been really important for me. Chin is up, hold. Without any pressure of me forcing it up. She does not have that tendency to drop it down. Now if these dogs want to drop it down, you better back up. Because the chances are when they put it down, they open their mouth and it drops out. If their head is back in a really good position and they open their mouth, even if they wanted to open their mouth, they couldn't drop it. So that's why I go after this head position. So go back and watch. And there were nights in a row where if you didn't watch it from like the very beginning to maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 nights later, you'd see a difference between the first night and the 7th night. But if you look between the 2nd and the 3rd, the 3rd and the 4th, the 4th and the 5th, the difference was minute. Like you couldn't even tell that I was doing anything different. But I kept preaching about chin up, chin up, chin up, chin up. And I'm putting my hand underneath this little dog's chin. Chin up, chin up, chin up, chin up. Until you get this position. This position's real nice. This position has happened because I've been super repetitious. We formed a habit. The habit is you put this thing in your mouth, you bring it up to dad, and you deliver it. You get that little chin up. Because when the little chin's up, there's no dropping. Look. Now, she gets these little eye boogers. I like to get those out. Hold. Long one. I mean, this is a long time. Don't do this to start out with, man. There were times where I was getting hold for 1 second, and I was really happy about it early on. Now I can start to stretch them out, extend it a bit. Try to look around my shop and see what else I'm going to have her hold on to. Did. Good girl. Now, I don't sacrifice any control. I've never done this one before, so I'm trying to find a bumper. I've got bumpers that are packed away, but I don't have anything else. So, this is a little bit bigger. It's a water bottle. She's never put this in her mouth before. Hold. It's a lot bigger. Hold. Hold. There's water in it. Hold. So, the side that has water, her head's just tipping because she's going, wow, this feels really weird. Hold. Good. But look at that chin up. If you can see that chin, it's up. Her little eyes are looking up at me. Hold. Very good. Now, did. The other thing you're going to notice is just because we're done doesn't mean we get to go do whatever we want. So, she's real steady. She's not all this. She could go anywhere in the shop she wanted to right now. Sit. So I'm going to show you that. Like this is part of it. So when we're doing this is like a hold session for us right now. We're actually getting some hold work out of it, and it's maybe more for my confidence, but it's also to kind of catch you guys up and show you where we're at with it. But she could go anywhere she wants in this shop. She physically could right now. I couldn't catch her. But because I have this foundation that allows me to have her sit, and if you remember what my talk about was last night, I talked about my biggest thing with her is she's just got happy feet. She likes to wander around on me now. So Ellie, come here. Ellie. Come on. Well, look who wants to move around. Spry does. Ellie, here. So as I move around with lots of other stuff going, come on, Ellie. Sit. One thing that isn't going to be sacrificed is this idea of this steadiness and control. Ellie, here. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Place. So I can put her back on place. Then I can go back and get this bumper myself. Sit. 2 creeps there. She creeped. So I can pick this up myself. Then I can come back and I can set it back down. And this is all part of our hold conditioning for tonight. Now, I would not add all these things in if we were way earlier in the process. But I'm adding layers to this where hold is going to have to supersede all these other temptations. Right now, I'm going to let her actually go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. So she's just going to run around a little bit. Well, I'll move. I'll show it. She's actually kind of hunting. She's going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So she's looking around. She's looking around. She's looking around. All right, come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Sit. Sit. And now, we're right back to the control. So, my point with this is, although I'm working on hold, which is good, she's showing me she can do it. Hold. That's great. But without all the other stuff, I'd have a hell of a time on my hands right now. Because if your dog wants to run around in your shop or your house or your yard or whatever, you're going to spend more time working on, get over here, sit down, stop moving around, quit doing this, quit getting into that. You're not going to be able to focus on what you're really trying to do. And what I'm really trying to do right now is reinforce and tie together the ends of this hold conditioning. So you have to be able to do all that other stuff first in order to have success with hold. So I think some of the problems that we have that I'm hearing about with hold conditioning is some people are struggling through the process. And it could be a whole bunch of different reasons. But some of them I think are people hold conditioned because Jeremy hold conditioned with Spry. So they watched the videos and maybe they were with us like right at the moment. Maybe they were behind us and got into it a little bit later. Maybe their dog is younger than Spry is right now. You gotta remember, she's over a year. She's like 14 months. So I didn't hold condition her until she was 9 or 10 months. Maybe even older. Well, 11 months, 12 months it might have been. Yeah, she probably wasn't done hold conditioning until December. So she was almost a year old. So I think what sometimes the downside of Live with Spry is people follow along and then they get to the point where Jeremy did something with Spry, so they go, well, I'm going to do it with Timmy or John or whatever the dog's name is. And you might not be there. Well, some of the things that you're doing, maybe you're further along than Spry was at that point in the video at that age. And you're able to move ahead quicker. So they're not all the same. They're going to go at different paces. But if you don't have, but the bottom line is if you don't have the foundation, your building falls over. So you can't, some of the struggles with hold conditioning, maybe you're just not ready for hold conditioning. If you can't get dogs to do this, without hold conditioning. So I think that's important. I think the other part that's really important is I want people to see we got all this stuff without any fear. We got all this stuff because without putting pain on my dog or pressure on my dog that was unnecessary. So that goes back to the philosophy of I think I get more out of them when they want to please me as opposed to working out of fear. That's just how I do everything. So I'm going to put her back on hold because we're going to get some hold out of this. Heel. Heel. Look at this layer that I've added. Moving her feet around in really nice heel position. Come on. got out of heel position a little bit there. Now I'm going to turn into her. Let's see how she reacts. She's got that thing in her mouth. Pretty nice feet. Pretty nice feet. If you watched our Instagram story this morning, I'm working on Moja's feet. She doesn't have very good feet. Her feet are off. When I say her feet are off, is she's not coordinated yet to make a left-hand turn. She does a right-hand turn real easy. Her left-hand turn, she caught out of position regularly. So, if you can't do it without a thing in your mouth, you won't be able to do it with a thing in your mouth, heel. So you can see, her feet are pretty good. How did I get there? Look back at the old Live with Spry's, because you're going to watch months in a row, literally days in a row, of me working on, her foot was off a little bit. And then I got it good, and then it was off a little bit. So then I took steps back, and I tried to fix that. Now, she's gotten back into a habit of sitting when I stop. There was a time in our training that I didn't want her to sit. Didn't want her to sit when we stopped. I wanted her to keep her feet up. The reason was I ran into problems with the retrieving, and I was going to have to recall her, and I didn't want to recall her off of sit, because then I create a dog that's a little unsteady, and I didn't want that. So you got to always be thinking, like, what is the consequence of whatever you're working on right now? Because there's all these unintended consequences where you train something in today, it might create an issue later. That might be good or bad. I always tell people, don't train something in today, you got to train out later. I sometimes have to train something into him today that I got to train out later. Like when we were healing, I usually get my dog to sit. Then I had to get to the point where I wanted her to not sit because I might have to recall her to me. I hate calling a dog off a sit. I don't want to do that. Especially her, especially with her tendency to be a little bit creepy on me right now. When I say creepy, she creeps. See how she sits automatically? I'm trying to get her to stop without sitting. She sits. I want to recall her. She sits. I'd have to train that out of her. Here. I'd have to train that habit out because she's gotten it back into her. I don't want to. I don't need to. I needed to do that in order to get her to come to me earlier on just to make retrieves. You go back and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Good. Good. That's nice, right? Sit. Sit. Now she won't for me. Here's what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do when you have the problem where the dog won't go pick it up off the ground. I had 3 people that I emailed me with. When I throw that dummy for the dog, you'll find it every time. When I lay it down, and it's laying, and they go out, and they'll find it. They'll walk right up to it and smell it. I put the scent on it, everything. They won't pick it up and bring it back to me. How come? Trailing memory. That's how we're going to fix it. The problem is they're used to you throwing it every time. And someone said, I put gloves on. It keeps the scent off of it. I feel like that has an issue with it. That has no issue with it. Your gloves smell as much as your hands do. The dog smells everything. There's no issues with that. The problem is the dog thinks it only retrieves stuff when you throw it for them. And that's easy for them to understand. That's predator-prey. They chase stuff down. Pick it up, bring it back. Oh, you got all excited about it. But what happens when it doesn't get thrown? How do they understand that they got to make the retrieve? So instead of me throwing it for her, I walked out and I put it down. Now, I prefer to do it trailing with the dog on heel to start out with. The DVD covers all of these steps, okay? So we're going to do, this is the bridging the gap and the trailing memory and the sight memory and the circle memory, loop memories, all that stuff. Our old DVD even covers that. Our new one has it on steroids. But all these things are what bridge gaps. So we need to do it with them. So her short-term memory it's gone now. It's past. She didn't walk out there with me in the first place. This was a sight. So, but now I'll send her, and she'll make the retrieve, and the retrieve is going to be very similar to what we had been doing, throwing it over and over and over again. And now this one, understands that it doesn't have to be thrown. It's got to look like that or smell like that, and then I get to pick it up and bring it back, and he praises me for it. But the delivery is what I'm worried about right now. I want that chin up. Good. Come on. Come on. She's got it picked up a little funny. Hold. Even though she decided to pick it up funny, look at how she delivered. It's awkward right now. It's a lot like the water bottle. It's real heavy on this side. She's got it picked up a little bit strange, but she can't set it down right now. And look at her chin. Perfect. And she's so happy. Good. Now I'm not going to be in a hurry to take it away. Hold. Had this question too about, again, hold the delivery. Why won't my dog retrieve and deliver? Drops it short, drops it short, drops it short. I had one guy that had said something about he picks him up, picks the dog up. Well, you pick up a dog, someone comes over to you and picks you up, scoops you up. What's your reaction? Oh my God. Well, you're going to drop whatever you're holding on to because you just got picked up. Don't flank. You want to get something out of the dog's mouth? Flank them. Reach down behind their hind quarters and watch them spin around real quick. Whatever's in their mouth is coming out. Well, don't do that if you don't want them to spit it out. But, so instead of me taking it away from her, she's learned through this hold conditioning that Dad will share it with me. Hold. Hold. Very good. Dead. So, share it with them. And do that from the start. If you do that from the start, man, it makes a big difference. So when they're little puppies, don't grab at it. Don't take stuff away from them. Get them in by you. Welcome them in by you. And then share it with them. Tell them how good they are. So I'm going to go through. I was not looking at any of the questions. So if you ask some, I'm going to start back up here where there might be some. And then I'm going to go through them. So this is I'm going to spin this around. Now, how do you wrap up a session? Well, we don't turn it into free-for-all for Spry. She can do whatever she wants. That's it. Spry goes right back to where I started. Under control, and we end it that way. Now, I've been working with her to be kind of permanent in one spot without place, without a bed to help. That's easy. This, a lot harder. But I don't always have the luxury of having a bed with me. So I got to get this dog to understand that when she plants it, she plants it. So I'm going to scroll through and see what questions we've got. Really nice crowd tonight. Shaldek said 2 in a row, and he is correct. Duck and cover. The internet. So my internet sucked, but we made it through. I do think I have the internet fixed for when we make the move to the new warehouse. So that's going to be, I don't want to jinx it, but I think that's going to be good. Dan, I talked to Dan yesterday on the phone. Dan gave me a call. He's from Missouri. He was at a workshop in Kansas years ago. We had a really good conversation. He says it's such a commitment. It's a huge commitment at time, and it's something that if you guys are willing to commit to it, I'm willing to commit to it. I mean, that's what it amounts to is I know what I need to do. I just have to do it. Well, I think that can be said about everybody with just about everything we do. So Scott Southard Jr. joined in. Nick Hummel got in. Dan was in. Mike Schulte. Tried to start hold again tonight, and he hates it. How can I make it more positive? He loves retrieving hard horns and will only drop to re-grab it in his mouth. Mike, I can sense it right now. You're looking for a reason for me to say, well, it sounds like you probably don't need it then. No. Film it again, Mike. The last time you filmed it and sent it to me helped greatly. You showed me a couple things that you were doing, and I watched it and I said, change this. I think some of it was just the table. Like, figure out a better height, figure out a better position. That helped alone. This process isn't super complicated. It takes, you might have to break through that initial layer, and then once you get going, now you're rolling downhill. Once you start rolling downhill, things get a lot easier. So, my answer is, Mike, square one. Go back to square one. Put the dog on the table. Make sure the table works, because last time it didn't. And maybe don't even bring out anything tonight. Maybe there's no wooden dowels, there's no bumpers, there's no nothing. Just get the dog to be up on the table and have it be not a bad experience. From that, we'll build. But if you started out with the first night and he hates it, all caps and an exclamation point, like, I can sense that. Anyone can sense that when they read it. That was a negative thing. So that, first off, has to be reversed. We're not going to be able to get the dog to like it by pushing them through things. You can't force things with dogs. They want to make you happy. Figure out how they can understand what they want, what you want them to do. That's the hard part. Get them to understand what we want. They'll do it willingly. Looking forward to the new DVD coming. Absolutely, Caleb. I, with hesitation, maybe not that much. I think it's the best piece of content we've ever put together. Hands down, by far the most valuable. Really proud of it. Had a great team working on it with us. Let's see. Put me on a waiting list for the DVD. Can't wait. Have the Shed DVD. So you got the old one, Todd. I don't think the old one's bad. I think the new one's 10 times better. Chris Borgman got in. Curtis got in. Derek. Renee Knutson. I have been hoping for this. Can't wait. Awesome. Pre-order. I think we'll probably have it within a day or two here, guys. This is a super helpful to me with the head positioning example. Excellent. Jeff's going through it right now. Hold conditioning. Scott Wolf got in. Good to see you, Pam, says Dan. So we got some people that know each other. Colin Brown joined in. Dan, the guy that has done 47 days of hold conditioning. Be a boss. I'm not sure what that means, Dan. The guy with the 47 days in is doing work, and I love it. That's James. Going to Wild Rose this weekend. Chris is going down to Wild Rose. That's a Scotty Beretta pup. He's been there since December working with Blake. Can't wait to see him. We've got... Oh my gosh. Just about threw the phone again. Nicole Larson had gotten in. I'm not too old yet, but it seems if my pup doesn't want me to touch his face, he's always moving his head away. Suggestions how to condition their pup to be comfortable with that. I can see that being an issue when it comes to... Yeah, Jeff, I think gently petting under the chin. That needs to be something. This is a tactic you can use when your dogs get really wound up. You can get them like this. This is a real easy way to wind dogs back down. Now, if he fights and fights and fights and fights, I don't think it's necessarily because of that. I think you probably have deeper seated issues. When my little puppies are really little, watch some of the stuff I did with Live with Spry. I do it with every dog. I hold them upside down in my lap. Like they have to be on their back. I'm holding on to them. Those are ways for me to show that they have to, they give to that. They don't wiggle and fuss to get out of that position. They're giving to the idea of, hey, I'll submit, I'll do what you want. So that idea of putting your legs up on the pup, like can you put your legs up when they're watching TV? Like right now, I hate to move back here because I feel like every time I go over here, I lose connection. But let's say pup's laying right here at my feet, and I decide to put my feet on her. A lot of dogs will slide out of that. They want out. She gets up and allows me to do it. Sit. I can do this when I'm watching TV. You're training. Because if she doesn't fuss to get out of there, that's her showing me that she's okay with me being on top. Leaders are on top. When you watch two guys go up and meet each other that are strangers, watch who puts the hand on the shoulder. It's usually the one showing with body language, hey, I'm a little bit higher up than you are. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's just that's nature. So you can do little things like that to prep for the dog to be able to touch. You would be able to touch that dog a little bit more. But if they're real little, Jeff, I hold them with them on their back, in my arms. I can hold them. All this stuff early on that I did with Live with Spry, those are things that you can check out. Miles joined in. Miles, my old friend from Wild Rose, a long time ago. Look at, let's see. Chris, I plan on going up in April. I'm in South Tennessee. We can meet in Nashville. So Chris must be talking about a workshop, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I missed that. Oh, here. Which dog won't? Yeah. So Chris is actually from Mississippi. Chelsea joined in. How many hours you got in Spry? Well, I had her since she was 7 weeks old. She's now 14 months. So 14 months times however many days times however many hours. That's how many hours I got into her. I don't look at it like a certain amount of time a day I put into them. I look at it like I've got them all day. They're always learning. I'm always training. So as soon as I change my mentality to that, training happens really easily all the time. Let's see. Mike says no, he knows he needs it. I'm sure you do. Vicky's back. She says, nice to see you back so soon. Yeah, I know. Usually when I did one, it'd be about a month before you see me again. I'm changing my habits. And the only way I'll change those habits is being repetitious and consistency. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sean says, my patience is outstanding. At times it is. At times you should see it, Sean. You would think differently. I'm a human, just like anybody else. And I lose my patience. Unfortunately, I lose it as well. But the nice part about it is, these days, I recognize it a lot quicker. So, and usually usually when it comes to patience with the dog, it has nothing to do with the dog. It's other things that affect my patience. And I sometimes don't focus through that or get through that, and the dogs end up with the short end of the stick. Does that sound familiar? I bet you a lot of people can relate to that. Things didn't go well today at work, so you come home to work with your dog and the dog takes the brunt of it. Well, that's not fair. It's not fair to the dog. We're trying to... You can see the dog right now is worn out. We talked about conditioning athletes and how we wear dogs out yesterday, and I talked about it at Mighty Pet yesterday, and just this little bit. This dog has done nothing physically other than, and it really didn't do anything. It went for a walk this morning and it sat while I worked the other dogs. That's what she did today. Then she laid on a bed all day. Then I took her out and I made her think a little bit, and you guys just watched what I did with her. That tired her out more than anything I could have done running-wise, because she's actually had to think. When you start asking these dogs to process things and think about it, you wear them out mentally quicker than you can physically. So Brock says, I got some fine-tuning on hold to do with Nola. Absolutely. I'm glad you see that, Rocky. It's got to be perfect. It has to be perfect to take the next step. And then you got to recognize that when you take the next step or the next step after that, it probably will get a little bit muddy, so take a step back. As soon as we do that, no problem. Scott says he's going to purchase the DVD. I've watched video after video of yours, and all I can say is it's super helpful information. I would really like to come and experience one of your workshops. Scott, we'd love to have you. I think the workshop is one of the best things that we can offer. The problem with them is you can't scale it. I can't scale a workshop. We're not going to take more than 15 people at a workshop, because if I did, I don't think you'd get enough focus. I don't think, you're spending good money and traveling, and the majority of the people that are going to be at the workshop are from out of state. That says something to me. So I'm not going to allow it to get to the point where I can't really spend a lot of time and focus. And we've built an incredible team that does these workshops. I've got four people that I think are so competent when it comes to training, I would let them train dogs for me if I did that. I don't do that, but I've got 4 people. So there's a total of 5 that I think are really, really good, and we max it out at 15 people. And the reason is because that's how much we put into it, these workshops. And I love doing them. They're motivating for myself. I think they motivate other people. That's why we do it. We train trainers, we don't train dogs. But the problem with it is man, that's hard to scale. I cannot scale it and maintain the quality. And if you know anything about the stuff we do, I'd rather do less and have it be a lot better. So that's on the workshops. In the workshops, we still have spots in all 3 workshops. One of them is only for people that have taken the original, the foundation. That's a Buffalo County. That one includes an actual shed hunt. Like we're going to spend the Sunday of that workshop shed hunting on an untouched farm in Buffalo County. So I think some people would come just to do the shed hunt, but you'll get the bonus of actual dog training. The other 2 are at our place. Those are foundation workshops, and the April one is almost full. They'll then spill over into the May one. The May one we only have a few people signed up for so far that I have checks. So I don't count a spot. All right, I am going to wrap this up before but let me scroll through quick. That's it, man. I caught up. Vicky says she's driving 10 hours to go. So I am going to wrap this up. Another good session, another good night in. I'm going to do my best, like I said, to announce them if possible. I know I won't be able to all the time. I think if you are on Instagram or Snapchat, I really recommend it because I think you're going to get extra stuff that I can't put on Facebook here and doesn't fit as well with the Facebook Live setup. You're going to get a lot of extra information if you're following on those, more specifically like the story part of it, because those are really quick, those are really easy. So I really recommend you do those, and then I will use those also like I did tonight. I announced the time actually, and I was like 20 minutes early of when I was going to do this live. So one quick question, Brandon says, does the workshop train me more than train my dog, or will my dog walk away with some new skills and the rest is put on me to train him on my own time? We train trainers, not the dog. So do I think your dog will get better? Probably, but we got to think about it in the big picture. It's only 3 days. And one of the days we don't hardly do anything with the dogs. So we're not going to change majorly dogs in 2 days because dogs are influenced by the culture they're put in. And so I can't change a kid in 2 days if he's been in a culture for a long time. No different, good or bad. Just things don't change that quickly. But what my hope is that you walk away with the understanding of where you're at right now, what you might have missed prior, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. And so if the dogs that you bring aren't able to get where I need you to be as far as getting the experience and the feel for the training aspect, this isn't an observer workshop, this is hands-on. So if your dog isn't quite there, then you handle one of our dogs. Because you have to get the feel. You can't learn to train a dog by watching someone. That's the hard part about Live with Spry. You guys can watch all you want. You won't be able to do it until you try doing it. Because you have to get that feel for it. I can't become a good, name any type of thing. Like, I can't get to be a good hockey player watching hockey. I would have to play hockey. I would have to develop the skills myself, muscle memory, the timing, the cadence, the tone, all that stuff. And you'd have to be able to react with the dogs and all. So by having people come to the workshop, bringing their dogs, I think there's just benefit to it that's clear. But I think the focus, Brandon, is not on the dogs. It's on you and all the people that are there. So, all right, guys, you have a great night. Spry says thanks. She enjoyed it as well. I bet you she rests well when we get home. You guys have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.